Hello, this is Andrew with Million.Bike, and this is a set of Farsports gravel wheels, or at least I hope it is, because I've been waiting a really long time for these. I originally ordered them in late September, the 26th, I believe, and today is December 12th. So they're a long time in the making and a long time in the coming. Obviously, some things that were outside of Farsports' control are going on right now. Some of that is COVID. Some of that is probably Thanksgiving holiday. And there was some holiday, some Chinese holiday as well that slowed down the build process too. So as I mentioned, these are gravel wheels. I think I mentioned that. They should be a set of 30 by 30, so 30 millimeters wide by 30 millimeters deep, and 25 millimeters internal, with a DT Swiss 240 EXP hub. Ooh. So it's not awesome, but it doesn't look like anything happened. The rear hub here seems to punch through the protective layer and made a little bit of contact with the spoke, as well as tearing this. But I'm going to get this out. It doesn't look like anything really bad has happened from here, but maybe except just scratching the spoke a little bit. Yeah, so see if we can focus in here. It's really hard to see. I'm trying to get to focus, but it's pretty close. There's a little scratch here in the spoke. I'm not too worried about it because, as I mentioned, these are gravel wheels, so they're going to get marked up a little bit. But you know, it's never ideal when you buy something and it's not perfect. But anyway, let's get on with the better business. Let's measure these up. So external width, spot on at 30. Internal width, 24.7. And the depth, I get 30.5. So all pretty close to spec. Let's just take a moment to visually inspect them. And aside from that minor mark on the spoke, everything else just looks perfect. These are arrow bladed spokes, and so the one thing that you do want to check whenever you get a bladed spoke is that the blade is flat. You don't want it to be twisted or anything like that, and this looks really nice. So let's unpack the other wheel. So normally these are on the inside, which is kind of bizarre. So whoever packed these didn't do a great job of packing them. And the idea of this is that it keeps the box from hitting the hub or damaging the hub. And usually you would have one on both sides. And it's actually a really good idea to keep these when you buy a wheel set, because then you can, oh, these are interesting. They don't stick. Maybe that's why they taped it on. The other Farsports wheels that I've bought have had the kind that have a lip around this part, and so they actually stick on here. And they're great for when you travel with the wheel because then it protects the disc rotor from impact. So we don't need to remeasure these, but just take a moment to inspect the spokes. And they all look really nice. So let's get them on the scale. And I'm going to move the camera for that. Here we are at the scale. Let's start with the rear wheel. Let's get that up on there. And we have 692.3. It's worth noting that these are built with brass nipples and not the alloy nipples. An alloy nipple is going to be slightly lighter, but also supposedly less durable. I actually don't really know, but I went with the brass ones this time. And then let's add in the front wheel. So it's kind of hard to see here. The total weight for the wheel set is 1286.9, which is super light. That's really, really light. I'm really happy with that. Let's just get the front wheel in there, just so we have some numbers for that. So that's 594.6. So out on the trail here, had to cycle across carry to get around that tree there. So I figured since I was stopped, it was as good a time as any to close the loop on these Farsports gravel wheels. They're the 30-30s with a DT Swiss 240 EXP hub. I've actually had these for quite a while. I got them last fall, but then winter happened and a couple other things happened that kind of delayed the review here. One of those things was that these are the wheels that I experienced the issue with the DT Swiss 240 hub. Put a link up there that explains the problem. I mean, obviously it's not a Farsports problem, that's a DT Swiss problem, but it's, you know, something that took them out of my hands for a little while. The other thing was that I was kind of hoping to find something that I didn't like about them, but there really isn't anything that I don't like about them. They're fantastic wheels. They're light, they're strong, the hub is fantastic. On the issue of rim strength, I didn't crash these rims, but I have it's the same rim on a DT Swiss 350 hub that I got last year and reviewed. Those were on my Revolt when I destroyed the bike, and the rim itself was untouched, where the frame got bent and destroyed. So, you know, of those two things, obviously the rim outlasted the frame, which kind of surprised me. Well, actually really surprised me. So I did end up bending a spoke on the front wheel here, and I expected that to be a pain to fix because there's no holes. But I just took it to my local bike shop, and while the tech there hadn't dealt with a no spoke hole rim before, we kind of talked through it because I watched some videos on how to build these wheels or those kinds of wheels, and it cost me 13 bucks in about 30 minutes of my time and fixed. So that was, it's not nearly as scary as I expected it to be with the no spoke holes thing. I'm kind of disappointed that I don't have anything bad to say. The only thing that I would say that's like it's not a bad thing at all, it's just something, is that I'm not entirely convinced that the DT Swiss 240 EXP hub is worth the money over the DT Swiss 350 hub. They're both awesome hubs. The 240 is nicer than the 350, no doubt, as it should be, but it's very much one of those diminishing returns kind of things where it's not, you're not getting, I think it's like 300 bucks, you're not getting $300 of additional value out of it. But it's definitely nicer. It's louder, it's lighter, it's smoother. And if you can afford it, why not? Like, I have absolutely no regrets for getting these. I just am not entirely convinced that I would recommend that somebody would get the DT Swiss 240 EXP hub over the 350, especially if money's an issue for the wheels. But that's pretty much it. I love them. They're absolutely brilliant gravel wheels. The perfect depth, great build quality, great weight and smooth, awesome hubs. Anyway, hope you found that useful. If you did, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or comments, drop them below, and I will get to them as soon as I can. Thanks.